Everybody, my name is Lemon Insights. Go by Lemon. I am your coach of the Houston Overdrive, and we are here with the RDL semifinal match. This week we are up against Coach Bungus McChungus and his team Chunt. He is a very stall-based team with things like Ferrothorn, Mega Sableye, Toxapex, and something else that I'm just not remembering. Dugtrio, Shiinotic, Mamoswine, Rotom Heat, and a couple other things that I'm really just not remembering. This week we are bringing Nimbus the Mega Altaria with Draco Meteor, Flamethrower, Roost, and Hyper Voice. This thing is mainly just there to deal out massive damage and take a couple of hits and go for Roost and switch out and preserve its HP, and it does a lot of damage if I click the right move. Next up we've got Lilat the Azoth with a Psychium Z, knockoff U-turn Psychic and Taunt. His team is very Psychic weak. Actually, not very Psychic weak, but he doesn't have very many options for defensive Psychic moves. Knockoff is there to remove items, U-turn is for pivoting, Psychic is there for the offensive Psychium Z move, and Taunt is because his team is very Taunt weak. Next up we have got Conkeldurr. We've got regular Conkeldurr with the Cobra Berry, Sheer Force ability, Rock Slide, Drain Punch, Mach Punch, Poison Jab. Rock Slide is there to punish the Moltres and the Rotom, max HP, max attack. Cobra Berry allows me to take reduces the first flying type attack I take by 50%, so I can punish Moltres with a Rock Slide. Drain Punch is for recovery, Mach Punch is there for priority, mainly on the Rotom and Scarf Mamo. Poison Jab is there just in case he brings Shiinotic, which I don't think he will. And Sheer Force makes Poison Jab and Rock Slide stronger. Next up, we've got Upgrade the Rotom Mo with the Choice Scarf item, Leaf Storm, Volt Switch, Hidden Power, Fire, Trick. His team, a lot of the things on his team do not appreciate a Choice Scarf. The main ones being Ferrothorn, Toxapex, Shiinotic, and even dang it, there was something else I'm just not remembering it. Leaf Storm is very spammable against his team. Volt Switch allows me to switch out. Hidden Power Fire is there for the Ferrothorn, and Trick obviously to cripple some of his team. We have got Donphan, aka Cannonbolt, with the Figgy Berry. Figgy Berry restores 1/2 my HP whenever I am below 1/4 HP. Earthquake, Ice Shard, Play Rough, Rapid Spin. Ice Shard is there for priority on Dugtrio. Earthquake is there to hit the majority of his team pretty well. Play Rough is there for the Sableye, and Rapid Spin is just to remove hazards. Next up, we've got Balrog the Heatran with the Shed Shell item. Shed Shell allows me to switch out even if Dugtrio comes in with Arena Trap. Stealth Rock, Ancient Power, Magma Storm, and Earth Power. Ancient Power is so that I can punish a Rotom or Moltres after I take the Flash Fire, after I take an Overheat or a Fire Blast or a Flamethrower from both of them. It makes my Fire type, it gives me a Fire immunity and makes my Fire type move stronger, meaning that Magma Storm gets stronger. Ancient Power has a chance to boost all of my stats by one stage, and it's the only special rock move it learns besides Hidden Power, which has the same power anyway, so Ancient Power is the better play anyway. Magma Storm, because once again his team is very stall based, so I'm going to wear it down with Magma Storm. And Earth Power is there for the Toxapex, because normally Toxapex would be a great answer to this thing. We're going to go right on to the match because I've already done this before. You can see the 6 he brought, which was Moltres, Mamoswine, Rotom, Toxapex, Sableye, and Ferrothorn. I wasn't fully expecting Toxapex, but I know that I was well prepped for it. So, leading off, you can see that I led Donphan because I wanted to bait him, expecting me to go for a Stealth Rock and maybe force him to go Defog or just for a U-turn into Rotom. But whenever he led Moltres, I thought it was going to be a subset, so I decided to go for an Ice Shard just to get some damage off on it before it got up a sub. So he U-turns into Sableye, and at this point I know that I can just hit it with a Play Rough. I do about 40% to it. It burns me, which makes Donphan useless. I just go for the Play Rough, seeing it as a sack. I get an attack drop, and he goes for Recover, telling me that it is a stall-based Sableye. I go into Heatran so that I can go for the Magma Storms. and save this as a sack for later. He goes for Psychic, which tells me that he wants it to take on Conkeldurr, which is smart because Conkeldurr is walled by the Sableye. He switches out into Moltres as I went for the Magma Storm. I do a good amount of damage to it and keep it from switching out. He goes for Roost, and I still get super effective Ancient Power off, and I get the Omni Boost. So because my stats are all boosted by one stage and he took extra damage from the Magma Storm, he is guaranteed to be in range of another Magma Storm, and he doesn't have a chance to go for Roost because I got the speed boost. He goes Mamoswine, which I switch out because I am very sure that it is a Choice Scarf Mamoswine, and I can't risk him going for an Earthquake and me just losing Heatran just like that. Actually, I'm going to check afterward, but I want to see if Earthquake would have killed at +1 defense with the EVs I had. Yes, he goes for Earthquake, and I went into Rotom. He goes into his own Rotom, and I do a good amount of damage with Leaf Storm. And then I hard switch out, expecting an Overheat, and he just went straight for the Pain Split. He overheats and kills Donphan, which is fine, because Donphan wasn't going to do anything anyway. Hold on, I need to fix this thing, because it's messed up. Okay. So, after Donphan dies, I go into Conkeldurr to force it out. I go for Rock Slide. He takes a good amount of damage from it. I switch out, afraid of a Burn or a Psychic. I went for Magma Storm, which does a lot of damage to it, and at this point, I really wish I had Protect. So I hard switch out into Conkeldurr, expecting an Icicle Crash, which he does not go for it. And I called the double. So he brought back his Mamoswine back fearing a Mach Punch, which was smart. That was the play. But now I go into Altaria and I just click something, because if I click the right move, something is taking a lot of damage. Rotom would die to a Draco Meteor, very likely. This dies. Ferrothorn dies to a Flamethrower. Sableye dies to a Hyper Voice. And Toxapex doesn't really want to take a Draco Meteor. So he switches out into Toxapex, and I just go straight for the Hyper Voice because I don't see any reason not to. That damage told me that it was not a specially defensive set, and it was physically defensive. He goes for Toxic, and it reveals that it is Black Sludge. I went for Leaf Storm because there wasn't really a reason not to, because I was actually expecting Mamoswine to come in, expecting a Volt Switch. And at this point, I'm just going to save it for a sack, as he goes for Pain Split. And I am really low on health, so I make a bold prediction and go into Heatran for the Flash Fire boost, and to preserve this thing for a sack later. I take the Overheat, makes my Fire type move stronger. He goes for Thunderbolt with the Flash Fire. That put him in range of a Magma Storm, just in case he switched. Now he goes Mamoswine again, and he goes for Earthquake again. He went Toxapex. I went for Volt Switch this time, because at this point I 100% know for a fact that it is Choice Scarf Mamoswine. So I Volt Switch, knowing that he was going to switch, and I went into Heatran to go start going for Earth Powers. It just barely didn't kill, and with that amount of damage, I know I can't out-damage his Recover. So I just go straight for Rocks. In hindsight, I think I should have gone for Magma Storm. He goes for Scald, and with that damage, I know that I can't beat him in a 1v1. So I go out into Rotom. He recovers. I take Toxic damage, and I trick to... This was a really big play right here. I take his Black Sludge and give him Choice Scarf, locking him into Recover. So now, Rotom doesn't do anything. And it was really close to dying to Toxic and Black Sludge. I go for Volt Switch, do 51% to it, and I go into Azelf because he doesn't want to take a psychic move. He goes into his Ferrothorn. I go for taunt, and now he's forced to attack, and he doesn't have a good attack. So I sack off Rotom, and I go into Heatran. He switches out into his Toxapex. I get the Magma Storm off, and with the Magma Storm damage and the afterward damage, I know I can beat it. Magma Storm almost kills, and I go for Ancient Power just in case I get the boost. He goes Sableye, and at this point, he reveals Sucker Punch. So I thought it was going to be Shadow Sneak, but it was actually Sucker Punch, which was a pretty... That makes sense. It's a pretty good set right there. And I missed the Magma Storm on the Sucker Punch, barely not killing. So I switch out, trying to preserve differential just because it's playoffs, expecting the Sucker Punch again. And at this point, Altaria just starts clicking moves. He doesn't have the best option for it. His option for it is Mamoswine, and it dies to a Hyper Voice, and I know I can live an Icicle Crash. I went for Roost, predicting the Sucker Punch, and I just went for it again because there was no reason not to. And that's the game. So, with that, guys, we are off onto finals of the RDL, of the Random Draft League. I am really excited about this, and I will be participating next season in Season 3, and I will be making videos on that as well. I am really enjoying this league, and I've enjoyed it up to this point. I'm enjoying it now, so I will be making videos. I will be enjoying it, and I'm going to be sharing it all with you guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, please do consider liking and subscribing. I am going to see you all in the finals.